Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again, and welcome back to another collection video. A lot of you guys really enjoyed my Blu-ray collection video that I made a few months ago. It has been my most viewed video of the year. That's not really saying a whole lot because I don't really get a whole lot of views, but I want to thank everybody who watched that video, and I thank you for all the support. Because of that, I'm going to do more collection videos, some that I've already done before, but want to do updates on, because, yeah, I haven't done a collection video. I did for the PS5 games, I believe, but here's the thing. Instead of dividing this into, parts of, of course, let me get into it first. This is going to be my entire PlayStation games collection video from PlayStation 1 all the way up to PlayStation 5, of course. And Lecter wants the attention once again, but, yeah. So, what I'm going to do is, just like in the previous video, I'm going to divide this into parts, because I'm not going to do this all in one night as it's pretty late, but I really want to get more of these videos out. So I'm going to be doing PlayStation. I'm also going to be doing Nintendo. I may do Xbox, but then again, I haven't done a full or a whole lot of updates when it came to Xbox, as I've mostly just been playing games on Game Pass. So yeah, that's why I haven't gotten too many Xbox games as much as I do PlayStation or Nintendo. But yeah. We're going to be starting off with the PS1 games first. Now, I do not have a massive collection of PS1 games because I did not really grow up with the PS1 or PS2. I did not really get into gaming until, bigger into gaming until 2015 when I got my PS4. I know, I am extremely late when it came to gaming, but yeah, I don't know what took me so long. I did have, my very first console was the Nintendo DS. I didn't really have a whole lot of games for that. I never played Pokemon, or I didn't really play Mario Kart back then, but as I've gotten older, I've come to, want to play those games, even though I'm kind of late now. But who knows, maybe one of these days, the Nintendo Switch 2 will get a DS, Nintendo Switch Online thing. I don't know. I hope they do, because they've been doing that with every other, video game console that they had, including Virtual Boy. I'm not even joking. That's happening next year. But, yeah, anyways, to prove my point on how lacking of PS1 games I have, this is the entire collection. I know, it's depressing, but, hey, all these games are good. So I'm going to tell you right now, so you don't have to worry. But, anyways, yeah, we're going to be starting off with this double pack of Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger. I mostly got this for Chrono Trigger, as it's one of my favorite games of all time. If you love JRPGs, you need to play Chrono Trigger. It is a masterpiece of storytelling and character development, and it's just all around a delightful game. I know that the cutscenes are different from the PS1 port, but I hope there's actually a good port that comes out, because we have a port of all the classic Final Fantasy games, so I hope one of these days we do get a port for Chrono Trigger that's actually really good. I haven't played Final Fantasy IV, but, yeah, I have slowly started getting into Final Fantasy. I played Final Fantasy VI, and actually there's a good amount of Final Fantasy games that I have played, but, yeah. One of these days I may want to try out Final Fantasy IV if I am in Final Fantasy mood. Then we got Metal Gear Solid, one of the best first installments to one of the best video game franchises of all time. I know the case isn't really all that special, but, hey, you can play, the game on modern hardware now, but, yeah, this was kind of a challenging game, but, hey, I was able to beat it, so, hey, the game is so innovative with storytelling and very creative with gameplay that it may be dated now, but it's still worth playing if, you want to go deep into, well, you know what I mean. Anyways, speaking of games that are dated, Resident Evil. That's right, the very first Resident Evil game. This is one of the cheesiest horror games ever made. Back then, it was terrifying, but playing it now, of course, we can talk about the elephant in the room, the voice acting. Oh, man. It's laughable, but honestly, that's what brings the game its charm. The remake is definitely better than this. Hell, even the sequels that came out after this that were still on the original PlayStation, they're definitely better as well. But hey, regardless, this is still, at the time, it was a great game. And I still think it's a great game. Like, it doesn't matter how dated this gets, this will still be a classic game, even if it is very cheesy nowadays compared to, the other Resident Evil games to come out after this. And speaking of the Resident Evil sequels, Resident Evil 2 for PS1. I also have Resident Evil 3, though I will show that later on. I know I don't have a physical version of that, but I do have 2 digital versions, which I'll show later on. This was a major improvement. I mean, sure, the voice acting is still cheesy, but hey, it was still a lot of fun. Like, in terms of the horror, it was definitely a lot more innovated, and it was definitely a lot more, like, honestly, there was a lot more challenge behind this game. And the fact that, just like the first game, you can play as 2 characters, it really made for a very fun and bloody good time. It's one of the best entries in the series, and sure, the remake definitely did some major improvements, but nonetheless, this is still a great game to play. And finally, we got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I'm not really too big into sports games, but the Tony Hawk series at the time was a lot of fun to play. And hey, if I do have the 1+2 collection, which updated the graphics and the gameplay, so yeah, but nonetheless, I still had a lot of fun playing the original version. So yeah, I mean, the controls are definitely a little hard to get used to, but hey, you do get the hang of it, and it does provide some really fun challenges, and hey, it's definitely one of the best sports games that I played. And yeah, that's it for PlayStation 1. And I guess over here I can add this in as a bonus, just for the hell of it. That, of course, being the PS1 Classic. Now, yes, there are much better versions that people have made to actually make it feel like it's worthy of being a Classic Edition, because the library of games for this thing is wimpy. I mean, sure, you got Final Fantasy VII, you got Metal Gear Solid, you got Twisted Metal, but where's Castlevania Symphony of the Night? Where's Spyro? Where's Crash? Where's Silent Hill? It just doesn't make sense why the library of games were very lacking, and the amount of games that were on here were kind of, kind of forgotten. I mean, yes, there are a few games on here that are definitely make it worth playing, but there's a reason why the price for this dropped and dropped and dropped. It was mostly made to, because Nintendo did the same thing when they released the SNES and NES Classic. But, yeah, you want to know what also kills it? The fact is that they got the non-DualSense controller for this thing. Why? I guess that's why they don't have the 3D games on it. But seriously, why didn't it have the DualSense? That's the one thing that just made this... I don't know. But hey, it was years ago, and there have been better versions of this that people have updated or made, better versions of this that had much bigger libraries and stuff. So yeah, it can be modified, though I'm not sure, because I don't know how modifying works, but yeah, it's probably not worth it nowadays, especially since you can play some of these games on the modern system. And hey, you can play all 3 of the classic Resident Evil games for PlayStation 5, as well as the Twisted Metal games. And the fact is, they've been adding in more classic PlayStation games, so yeah. And hey, we still got the Spyro Reignited trilogy, so you can play that as well. Okay, now we're going over here to the PlayStation 2. Where exactly do I keep my PlayStation 2 games? Well, I'll show you. I keep them right in this drawer. Why? Because I don't have much room anywhere else. I got PS2, and I got PS3. Oh, and I got Xbox games in here too, but we'll save Xbox for another time. I got all of these alphabetized, so yeah, let's get started with Family Guy, the video game. I got this back in 2016. It was back when I was very big into Family Guy. I couldn't even get past the second stage. I don't know. It just got way too difficult for me. I honestly preferred Back to the Multiverse, probably just because, there were cheat codes. But yeah, the Family Guy games are often forgotten. I mean, yeah, they're definitely not as good as some of the Simpsons games that came out, which I will show later on, as I do have a few. But Final Fantasy X, I'm actually not going to get too deep into it because I do have another copy of Final Fantasy X that I will show later on. God of War 1 and 2. 2 fantastic games that you need to own. I mean, yes, the final stage is definitely punishing, and it kind of ruined the game for most people, but hey, I was still able to beat it. I actually didn't beat any of these games on the original PlayStation 2 because they don't even work. Like on my PlayStation Slim. I don't know if it's just because of the model I have or what, but yeah, they don't work, but that's okay. I do have the HD collection, which I'll show later on. But anyways, we are moving on to Grand Theft Auto 3, as well as San Andreas. I do have Vice City, but it's on the original Xbox, because I heard that the PS2 version had a glitch during, like, the ice cream truck mission or whatever, so I stayed clear of that. I heard it's still a good addition, it's just, yeah. Guitar Hero, I do not have that Guitar Hero thing. I do have a Wii version of the Guitar Hero guitar thing, but yeah, it was one of these days where I wanted to get the guitar thing, but you know, I kind of just like, yeah, because I played Guitar Hero at Dave & Buster's and I had a lot of fun with it, so I wanted to play the regular version at home, because it is kind of common to find those things at retro video game stores, but I gotta be careful just in case they don't work. But yeah, Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. I used to go to a daycare that had PS2, and a lot of people just played Jak and Daxter. None of them will let me play it, even though it was E-rated. I could understand if they wouldn't let me play the sequels because they were a lot more mature, but yeah, this is a fun game, but oftentimes it can be confusing what I'm supposed to do from time to time, but one of these days I do want to try going back into it. I haven't played the sequels because I heard they're even harder. More fun because you have guns, but they were a lot more harder, so I'm preparing myself if I do decide to play those one of these days. Kingdom Hearts. I watched my brother and his friend play this a lot. Yeah, they had a PS2. I usually just watch them play, and I was always curious, like, who are these anime characters with these Disney characters? Like, I had no idea what this game was even about, but yeah, playing it nowadays, yeah, it's a great game. Like, sure, the fandom may be absolutely insane, but I do not focus on fandoms. I focus on the games themselves. Lego Star Wars, the video game. Never actually played this, but I heard it's pretty fun. I do enjoy playing Lego games once in a while. Persona 4, I got this a year before they ported Golden to other like modern hardware, because it was only available for PlayStation Vita. But I got no reason to finish this because, well, of course, yeah. But hey, regardless, it's still a great game. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. This game was supposed to get a remake, though it hasn't been released yet, but I already beat the game, so at this point, I don't really care. But what can I say? It's by far the best Prince of Persia game, and we don't get too many of them anymore. I mean, we did get one last year, but nobody played it, which is an absolute shame because it was a lot of fun. But yeah, you definitely got to play this if you're a fan of the Prince of Persia games. In fact, you can't really call yourself a fan of Prince of Persia until you played this game. That's pretty much the rules. Resident Evil Code Veronica X, one of the Resident Evil games that I haven't finished. In fact, when I started this game up, I didn't go back to it, and I didn't really get into any of the gameplay yet. I do have the digital version for PS5, but I don't know why, but if I do decide to play it, it will probably be the digital version. Resident Evil 4, one of my all-time favorite games. Absolutely no introduction whatsoever. It's a masterpiece. Yeah, Ashley's annoying, but the game's still amazing. Shadow of the Colossus, another one of my all-time favorite games. I have all three ports of this. From the original PS2 version to the PS3 version, which I'll show later on, to the PS4 remake. Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus. If you're a fan of, like, boss fights and puzzles, this is definitely up your alley. Just, you have to play it at least once in your life. One game that I think many people can agree needs a remaster is The Simpsons Hit and Run. This is basically like GTA if it were set in The Simpsons. Or in Springfield. But here's the thing about this game. While it is a lot of fun, there isn't like actual combat, and almost every single level is driving and time-based. Sure, oftentimes, if you fail too many times, you can often, like, skip a mission. But the last few missions are what kind of kill it for me. Like, the final mission just throws all the obstacles that you've been doing throughout, and just, it requires you to be absolutely perfect that none of the cheats could even help. I was this close to finishing it. There were just a few seconds left, but then I got an instant game over screen, all because I don't know why, but that's why this game needs a remaster. Just update the controls, update the checkpoints, update the difficulty, or downdate the difficulty. Just, I don't know. It's a great game, but oftentimes when you're playing it nowadays, it can be very frustrating. But hey, it is definitely the best Simpsons game. And yeah, it's hard to believe that, there were actually Simpsons games out there that actually managed to be fun, like the arcade game, which one of these days we do need a console port for. There was one for the PS3, but that got delisted. But hey, I did go to an arcade that had the game, and I was able to beat it. The SpongeBob movie game. Definitely one of the best movie license games, or TV shows / movie license games. This game was a lot of fun. It's not very long. I was able to finish it in a day, but that's because I had the cheats too. But hey, if they can remaster Battle for Bikini Bottom, they should remaster this game as well. Because with the amount of SpongeBob games that we've gotten, I feel like we should definitely have this game. I mean, yeah, it's not very common for licensed movie licensed games to get remasters, but in this day and age, the fact that we got the Warriors on PS4, well, it's not technically a remaster. Like, even if it's just emulation, this should definitely be played on modern hardware. It's definitely one of the most fun SpongeBob games out there. It's not quite as good as Battle for Bikini Bottom, but it's definitely a lot of fun. Oh, okay. Gotta be careful here with this drawer. Star Wars Battlefront 2. There is a port of this, but yeah, even though you can't play this online, I'd still just recommend the PS2 version. You can still play the campaign, but yeah, I don't know what happened with that remaster. They just completely I didn't even bother with it. And finally for PS2, Tetris Worlds. Honestly, any Tetris game I think is worth playing. I mean, sure, this doesn't really do a whole lot, like the music really isn't all that memorable, but it's fun. It's fun enough. It's Tetris. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of game it is. I mean, it's Tetris. Like, I expect it to be fun, and I do think it's fun. Okay, now we move on to PS3. Actually, I think I might be able to do all this in one. We'll just have to see. But first, Alone in the Dark, Inferno. This is just the GameStop thing, but if we open it up, yeah, Alone in the Dark. This game sucks. It's a shame how many bad entries there are in the Alone in the Dark series. That pretty much the only ones that are worth playing are the classic ones. Like the dialogue. Like, I know there's a game even worse that came out called Alone in the Dark. Illumination, I think that's what it's called. And there was the reboot, which is definitely better than this, but thankfully, there are times where you can just skip through the game, which is exactly what I did, because the gameplay was painful, and it was just, it's awful. Like, do not play it. Like, just, yeah. Assassin's Creed 2, I got this used, and oh man, the condition, I forgot how bad the condition for this was. I might as well just get the remasters that came out, but I'm not too big into Assassin's Creed. There's also Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which I am pretty close to finishing, but yeah, I'm not really too big into Assassin's Creed, but hey, I do think that this is a great game, and one of these days I do want to get more into the Assassin's Creed games, specifically the ones that were well received, because when it comes to the modern ones, yeah, it just doesn't really feel like they have too much variety to them. I mean, I really enjoyed Odyssey, and I really enjoyed Valhalla, but there really wasn't too much to the franchise that is fully making it worth playing through all the games. Bayonetta, I know this technically isn't the best port of it, but I was able to finish the game, and I do think, the controls, it's still a lot of fun. I mean, you can play it on modern hardware as well, but Bayonetta, yeah, like the story, it's nothing special, but the gameplay was truly where it was at. Castlevania Lords of Shadow, probably the best 3D Castlevania game. Yeah, it's more of a God of War clone, but it's still pretty fun. Dark Souls 2. I didn't finish this version because I just got the Scholar of the First Sin edition. I don't know why, but yeah, technically it made the game harder, but hey, either way, I think Dark Souls 2 is one of the most underrated video game sequels out there. I will never agree with the hate for it. Deus Ex Human Revolution. I kind of got a bit frustrated on this one in terms of, like, you know, the gameplay and what exactly you're supposed to do. I mean, you can play through this game without killing anyone, but I don't know. It's just, I'm more of an action guy than a stealth guy. I mean, it's a good game, like, from what I played, but there were times where I got kind of frustrated by it. The Devil May Cry HD Collection, which includes the first 3 games. I've only played the 3rd game because I heard it's the best in the series. I do want to play the first one of these days, though I heard the 2nd game wasn't all that good. I haven't played the 4th one, which is weird, because I played the 5th one. I don't know. Some of these games I haven't even played, like this one, Dragon Age Origins. I did play the new one. What was it called? No, not Inquisition. That's the last good one. It was called The Veilguard or something. I finished that game, but yeah, it was nothing special at all. And then we get to a failed franchise revival, Duke Nukem Forever. Oh, poor Duke. Poor Duke. Like, this could have been a great return to form, but yeah. Let's not get into that. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. There is a remaster, which I definitely feel like made improvements upon this one, but PlayStation 3 really isn't the best way to play a lot of Bethesda's RPGs, but hey, I didn't really have too many problems with playing this one. And then we get to Final Fantasy X again with Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remastered. Yeah, it shouldn't stay only on PlayStation because you can play it on pretty much any modern console. But yeah, it's definitely more different than some of the other turn-based Final Fantasy games, but hey, it's still one of the best. Yes, some of the dialogue is cringy, especially that ah ha 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 scene, but it does have one of the best romance stories in video game history, so there's definitely things to love about it. Ghostbusters, the video game. I can't really say anything about it because I haven't played this game either. I have been meaning to, but I just don't know. I know there's a remaster for this, but I heard it wasn't nearly as good, but one of these days, I definitely want to give this game a chance because I heard it's one of the best movie license games out there. So, yeah, proving that there can be good movie license games. So, yeah. And then over here, we got the God of War HD Collection. I already talked about these games. But, yeah, probably the best way to play the 2 God of War games. There really should be a remaster where you can play all the God of War games. I mean, you can play 3 on PS4 and PS5, but, yeah. Heavy Rain, one of the most story-driven games out there. The gameplay, it's not perfect. Like, in terms of the twists, they're questionable, but I do think this is a very innovative game if you want, you know, deep storytelling as well as heavy drama. It was, like, yeah, it's not for everyone, but I really enjoyed the game. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, check out my review, which was 6 years ago? Oh my god. Ico and Shadow of the Colossus HD Collection. Ico, yeah, not a whole lot of people talk about Ico, but yeah, well, I definitely don't think it's as good as Shadow of the Colossus. It's still a very unique game. Both games are definitely worth checking out. Infamous 2. This is another game that I haven't played yet. Also, if you're wondering what's with all the sticky stuff, it's because I got these used, you know, when they put the stickers on the cupboard. Yeah, but yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about Infamous 2 because it's another game that I haven't played yet. Jak and Daxter HD Collection. Again, I've only played the first game. I know these are going to be the games that are going to be giving me the most trouble, or the second game definitely is, because, yeah, I could actually play these on PS5, but I don't really feel like spending more money on games that I already own right now. But yeah, anyways, Journey, the collector's edition, which also includes Flow and Flower. Definitely not as good as Journey, but Journey, it's an incredible game. Everybody needs to play Journey at least once. Sure, it's not really relying on combat, but it is very immersive, very beautiful. There are many reasons why it was a big hit. Yeah, you gotta play Journey at least once in your life. Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 HD remixes, which includes, well, of course, the first one includes Kingdom Hearts 1, and the second one includes Kingdom Hearts 2. I haven't played any of the other entries, but I heard they're pretty much essential to the entire storyline, but I mostly play these games for the mainline entries. I don't really care much for the spin-offs. Like, in terms of story driven themes throughout the series, I don't know, I care more about the gameplay. I mean, yeah, it would be nice if the stories were, like, fully fleshed out well, but I don't know, to me, I feel like, the characters and the charm, it's more than enough for me. I just hope that Kingdom Hearts 4, manages to come out, doesn't take, a million years to come out like the third game did. And it's already been 6 years since the third one came out. Little Big Planet. Not really a game you can play in terms of, the online stuff, but, hey. Little Big Planet was a very immersive game with how much creativity it had and, with the amount of charm that it had. Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. You can only play this on PlayStation 4, unfortunately, which is odd since you can pretty much play every other Metal Gear Solid game on Xbox now, except for this one. I don't know why there's no port of this one, but hey, this is definitely one of the best entries in the series. Yes, the final cutscene pretty much feels like a whole movie, but hey, it's still a very immersive game, and you definitely need to own it if you have a PS3. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, don't let that terrible title fool you. This is a very fun game, one of the best video game spin-offs you can play. Hack and slash, fast-paced action with a great soundtrack, and the fact that Raiden is actually very likable in this. And, yeah, because he wasn't really all that memorable when the second game came out, but this truly felt like a game that, we can actually, root for him. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely play it if you're a fan of the franchise, the Metal Gear franchise. Metro, Last Light. Yeah, pretty disturbing, but very immersive. It's a first-person shooter, and hey, definitely play it if you're a fan of first-person shooters. I'm just realizing, I did have a copy of Killzone 2, but I guess I don't have it, because it was in in a case with no cover, but I don't know where my copy of that went. I could have sworn, and I don't know, I finished the game anyway, so yeah. Mortal Kombat, one of the best video game reboots out there. I haven't finished the main campaign because I'm getting very frustrated with the forearm boss. I remember, I knew what his name was. I just forgot. I don't know what's going on with my memory today or tonight because I'm doing this at night. Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch. There is a remaster for this game on modern systems. I definitely recommend playing this if you're a fan of Studio Ghibli and JRPGs. There is a sequel that I do have, but I haven't played, but I just don't think it's going to live up to the expectations of this one, because I heard the second one's good, but not as good as this, because this, I really enjoyed the characters and the storyline and the art style. It was absolutely immersive, and the fact that Studio Ghibli actually helped with the design for this, it's an amazing game. One of the most underrated JRPGs out there. I definitely recommend it. A game that I don't recommend, however, even if you're a fan of the movie franchise, Rambo the video game. Yes, I played through this, but hey, I finished it, so I never have to ever again. Because, wow, was... Well, moving on. Ratchet & Clank HD Collection, which includes the first game, Going Commando, and Up Your Arsenal. I've only played the first one and Going Commando. I haven't beaten either one yet. The first one is very difficult. The second one isn't quite as difficult, mainly because it has more RPG elements, or the start of the Ratchet & Clank franchise having more RPG elements where you can level up like your power and your weapons. So, Yeah, because you couldn't do that in the first game. But hey, nonetheless, I do want to play, the other ones later on. Speaking of the other ones, Ratchet and Clank Future, Tools of Destruction, as well as A Crack in Time. Two fantastic must-own titles for the PS3. And yeah, don't know what there is more to say. Resident Evil 3, one of the weakest entries in the Resident Evil series, and this was pretty much the start of Resident Evil slowly going downhill. But it's definitely fun to play if you have another player, because if you play this alone, you're gonna have a horrible time. Yes, there are moments that make absolutely no sense, like the boulder scene, but I don't know. It's not a terrible game. Definitely better than 6 in my opinion. But yeah, don't really know if there is more to say. Oh god. Rogue Warrior. I can't believe this was full price, because the game is just 2 hours of the same shit over and over. Mickey Rourke or whatever, just, swearing every 5 seconds or whatever. It had, and just, never play this one. Probably the worst first-person shooter I ever played. Okay. Alright. Probably my most recent one. I can't believe I actually own this, but I do. Sonic 06. Okay, so let me make one thing perfectly clear. I am not a Sonic hater. I do enjoy a lot of the Sonic games. When the movies came out, they made me want to get more into the Sonic franchise, like the original Sega Genesis games, Sonic CD, Sonic Mania, which I already had, Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, Sonic Frontiers. I enjoy all those games. It's just, I don't know, I haven't been big into the franchise as many others, but hey, I guess it's because games like this made me, get away from the franchise a little bit, but hey, even though this game is terrible, which I have played through some of it, and yeah, it's atrocious, it didn't stop me from enjoying the previous entries, because I just... It doesn't matter, because this game sucks, but hey, it didn't kill the franchise, thankfully. It's just... Yeah, it can be played just for, a drinking game or whatever, but... Yeah, let's not get into that, because a lot of Sonic fans have really bad memories from that. Spec Ops: The Line. Probably having one of the greatest video game stories of all time. You don't really come for the gameplay or the multiplayer, but hey, it's still a very immersive and great, story-driven game. You can even get past the gameplay pretty well. It only took me, I don't know, 6-7 hours to beat, which isn't too long, but hey, it's definitely an unforgettable experience, and it's very deep and very messed up, so they definitely did a lot of things right for this one. Telltale's The Walking Dead, one of my all-time favorites, one of the best zombie games, and one of the best licensed games ever. You have to play this at least once. It's very depressing, but truly one of the greatest episodic games out there. It's a shame that, Telltale hasn't managed to live up to those standards since Wolf Among Us. Unfortunately, a year later, we got to this abomination, Survival Instinct. I didn't even bother to finish this one because, yeah, a couple of hours was enough for me. And then finally, for the PS3, or at least the physical games for PS3, XCOM Enemy Unknown. I'm not really too big to strategic games, but this one I find quite interesting. You basically have to, line up your squad mates or get your squad mates or get the right squad mates for certain missions, because if even one of them dies, then they stay dead. So yeah, it's definitely a game that you really have to, be smart about, but that's what makes it very unique. And yeah, that is it for the PS3 games. Whenever I can, I'll cut to PS4 and PS5. Oh yeah, also I might as well show the digital games next for PS3. I don't have that much, so yeah. Okay, first off, I deeply apologize about the rain. But yeah, anyways, here's the digital stuff. There's Silent Hill. This was how I was able to play the game, to review the game. But yeah, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And then we get to this game right here. It's called Amy. Sorry, let me turn off the music. Yeah, this game's horrible. When I downloaded it, it was like $3. I'm surprised this game didn't get delisted because it was just absolutely atrocious. You have to escort this little girl in like this, I don't know, but her AI was so god awful. It's pretty much like, an AI game, or no, not an AI game. Like, it's basically like if you took all the fun out of Resident Evil 4 and just made it exclusively about, escorting the damsel. While Amy technically has powers, it doesn't hide the fact that the acting's atrocious. The graphics, even for 2012, just, yeah, it's probably the worst horror game I've ever played, and that's saying something. Probably even worse than any of the Walking Dead, like the non-Telltale Walking Dead games. Like, yeah, that's how bad it is. Then we got Persona 4 again, and yeah, Flower, Flow, Journey, and yeah, that's it for PS3. I wasn't even aware about these. Nostril Shot, Duke War, Grave Diggers. I don't even know what. Like, I did not remember downloading these games, or I don't know what they are. It's weird. Alright, now we are moving on to the PS4 and PS5 games, as well as the digital games. So, yeah, let's get started with Alien Isolation. It took me forever to finish this game, mainly because I was relatively new into gaming, because, I got my PS4 about a few months later, and I just got so frustrated with this game that I didn't go back into the game until, well, if you saw my review of the game, you'll know that I did manage to finish the game. So, yeah, it's definitely the best Alien game. If you're a fan of the franchise, then you definitely need to play it. It's going to frustrate you, but it's definitely an improvement after Colonial Marines. Angry Birds Star Wars. There's not really much of a point in owning this. You might as well just be playing the regular, the mobile app version, because, yeah, there really isn't too much of a reason to own it on console. But hey, it's nice to have on console if you truly want to play it on console. I haven't played Angry Birds in a really long time, though. Astrobot Rescue Mission, the start of a brand new, fantastic PlayStation franchise. There may be only 3 games, but hey, with Astrobot Rescue Mission, it showed that Astro was off to a really great start. If you were to play only one PlayStation VR game, this would probably be it. Sure, it's not very long, but hey, it is very basic, it's very simple, but it is a lot of fun, and it would only get better when Astrobot came out. So, yeah, there's a lot of reason to play this if you're a fan of VR games. Back to the Future. No, this is not the crappy LJN game. No, this is the Telltale game, and it's actually very interesting. It definitely feels like, it ties into the movies in a much different way, as if, you were telling the story as well as, with the player choice. I mean, it's a Telltale game. You pretty much know exactly what to expect. It's definitely one of their more underrated titles, in my opinion. Alright, and next up, we move on to Balan Wonder, and we're done with that. Batman Arkham Knight, definitely the weakest of the Batman Arkham trilogy, but compared to Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, this is a masterpiece compared to that. It has issues, like in terms of controlling the Bat Tank. It's definitely one of the more annoying aspects when it should have been the best aspect, but hey, we can all agree that it was definitely too long, but there is some fun bosses here and there. It's definitely very innovative when it comes to its storytelling. So yeah, there is good, there is bad, but I do think that this is still a really solid entry. Blood and Truth, this is also a really fun PlayStation VR game. You do need, you do have the option to use the Move controllers, but yeah, but sometimes it can be a little bit finicky. But hey, Blood and Truth is still a great game to play for the PlayStation VR. Definitely, if you do have a PlayStation VR, this is definitely one to own. Bloodborne. It's a damn shame that we are probably never going to get a remaster for this game, and it needs it more than any other game on PlayStation. Like, it needs it more than The Last of Us. It needs it more than Horizon, because, well, yeah, pretty much. It's a shame this is probably always going to be on 30 FPS, and we're probably not even going to get a sequel, but hey, it's still a fantastic game. I still think this is better than all the Dark Souls games. While I love those games, I guess because Bloodborne has more of a horror vibe to it, it's what made it better, in my opinion, or how it appealed to me more. Because again, Dark Souls is one of my favorite franchises, but there was just something about Bloodborne that made me love it even more than that. So yeah, definitely try out Bloodborne if you do have a PS4 or 5. It's still compatible on PS5, it's just going to run the same. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. If you love Castlevania Symphony of the Night, then definitely play this game. It definitely feels a lot like that, but also showing exactly what made, the Castlevania, Metroidvania-style game so special. Definitely play this one. The Borderlands series, Borderlands Game of the Year Edition, Borderlands The Handsome Collection, which includes Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. I never actually got to play the pre-sequel, as I mostly got this for the second game, and Borderlands 3. Say what you will about Borderlands 3, but, yes, the characters are annoying. Yes, it does feel repetitive from time to time, but, hey, it still has what I enjoy about playing the Borderlands series is, the amount of loot that you get without having to rely heavy on microtransactions and stuff like that. I'm not sure if they were added in, but I do know this is that, I still had a fun time with Borderlands 3. It pretty much gave me what I wanted, except for the fact that, the villains were annoying and it didn't really have too much when it came to its other characters. So it's a shame that, they've kind of forgotten what made the second game such a big deal. But hey, I enjoy all the games. This is probably the only Call of Duty game that you're going to see here. It's Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I don't know. I tried getting into Call of Duty. I do like the campaigns, but I'm not really a big multiplayer guy. The zombies mode, yeah, it's fun and all, but I don't know. I think we can all agree that Call of Duty it should have just been its own game with a bunch of updates or expansions rather than just, because that's what Destiny has been doing with Destiny 2. So, yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I haven't even gotten past the first game yet because of the difficulty. But hey, it's definitely... Well, I don't know which is harder because the fourth game, well, I did manage to beat it. It punishes you to absolutely no end. Like, there is an easy mode to turn off the extra life thing, but it still doesn't hide the fact that it's still a very challenging game. They're fun games, but do not expect a cakewalk. Cyberpunk 2077. Do not play this on PS4 if you were to get the PS4 version. Just play it on PS5. There are major improvements when playing on PS5. And yes, it was hated at first, but I do think it is definitely worth playing in modern time. Especially with the DLC that I haven't played yet, but I do one of these days want to play it. There are really good things about this game that it's a shame that, when it came out, it just was played with bugs. Even the PC version had a lot of that, but I do think nowadays it is definitely, much more bearable to get through. I was able to beat it, and one of these days I do want to replay it because it does have replay value. Yeah, back then it was definitely, not what it was supposed to be, but now it's definitely what it was supposed to be. And I definitely recommend playing it in this day and age, now with the next-gen consoles and all that. And I heard it was actually pretty decent on Nintendo Switch 2, believe it or not. Yeah, that's... but, yeah. Yeah, anyway, Cyberpunk. It's still a really good game. Dark Souls 3, probably my favorite of the Dark Souls games. If you're disappointed with Dark Souls 2, then Dark Souls 3 is definitely where it's at. So, yeah, don't know what there is more to say. It's a shame that the franchise had to end, but hey, this was definitely a great way to end off. Death Stranding, I definitely think the second game is better, but hey, still a pretty good one. Don't really know what there is more to say. Just expect a lot of walking and delivering, and you should be good. Destiny. I didn't love this as much as when I first got it. I was just so excited to be playing, a game that I found to be fun because, if you play this game just for its gameplay, then you're good. But if you came for a good story, you're not going to get that. The sequel definitely made improvements on that, especially with the amount of expansions that it had. And hey, in terms of live service games, this is definitely one that I do enjoy playing from time to time. Devil May Cry 5, my favorite Devil May Cry game. This truly showed how you make another great installment to a great franchise and just expand upon it with the amount of weapons and characters. It was so much fun. Definitely play it if you're a fan of the franchise. Disco Elysium. This is a very unique RPG that doesn't really have a heavy reliance on combat, but rather than dialogue choices in terms of, its role-playing. Its world is very unique, it's colorful, its story is very deep. It's a very interesting game. It's not too easy to get into as it doesn't always hold your hand, but it's still one of those games that feels very immersive, and one of these days I do want to try getting more into it because, man, this is a very unique title. Dishonored and Dishonored 2. I haven't played Dishonored 2 yet, but I have played Dishonored 1. I really enjoyed it. One of these days I will play Dishonored 2, though, because I heard it's just as good. Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2. If you're a fan of Baldur's Gate, then you should definitely play these games. They're very immersive, they don't always hold your hand, and they're very unique when it comes to their gameplay. And the fact that it's always turn-based and strategic, yeah, you just really got to be careful on what you do, because you don't know if you'll make the right decisions or get the right perks. I don't know, it's been a while since I played those games, so yeah. The Division 2. I didn't play too much of this. It was fine, but I don't know. The only reason I got this is because, I got it on Black Friday in 2019, so yeah. Doom VFR. Haven't really played this one yet, but I guess it's just Doom in VR. Doom Eternal. A lot of people say that this is the best in the series. I don't know. There are some of those enemies that definitely kind of ruin the game a little bit, but not enough where I just didn't want to play the game anymore. It's still a hell of a lot of fun. It's a shame that, when the third game came out, it was really good, but didn't quite live up to the standards of this one. This truly showed that, Doom hasn't lost its touch. And I still think it hasn't, but hey, Doom Eternal, it's definitely where it's at when it comes to Doom. Next up, we got Dragon Age Inquisition. Probably the last good Dragon Age game. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Definitely the best Dragon Ball game in my opinion. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball and you're a fan of gaming, definitely play this one. Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age. I've only played a little bit of this. I don't know why I haven't gotten too further into it, because I am a fan of, JRPGs and all that. Dreams, an often forgotten creativity type game where, you can pretty much make your own games in this without any use of AI whatsoever. Let me tell you something. If you yourself want to become like a game designer, then you should definitely try this game out if you have a PlayStation, because it is so unique, and while oftentimes it's going to be hard to know exactly how to create things, and I never really created anything because I'm really bad at that, but I have played a lot of, creator-based games, and some people are still playing it. It's definitely a very unique title to play if, you're a fan of, creativity type games. It's very unique. Dying Light, I definitely think this is an improvement over Dead Island, in my opinion. The Evil Within and The Evil Within 2. Definitely play these games if you're fans of Resident Evil and whatnot. I definitely think the second game is better than this one, because there were just things about this game where, I got very frustrated, but maybe it's just due to the fact that, I was very new into, these types of games. So, yeah, it's definitely not the best horror game, but it is a pretty decent one. Second game, like I mentioned before, I think is a lot better. Fallout 4. Say what you will about this game, but I still had a lot of fun with it. Fallout 76. Yeah, I hated it when I first played it, but I heard over the years it has gotten better over time. I don't know, maybe I will give it another chance one of these days. Far Cry 5. I actually haven't played too many Far Cry games other than this and Far Cry 3. But this is a pretty good one. Definitely not as good as Far Cry 3 though, but there is fun to be had. Even if it does, mostly feel like every other Far Cry game. Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age. Yeah, pretty much a remaster of Final Fantasy XII. So yeah, if you never played Final Fantasy XII and want to play Final Fantasy XII, you can play it on modern hardware. Simple as that. Final Fantasy 15. Definitely where the franchise got more action heavy and more open world based, but it didn't really ruin anything for me. It's definitely not the best Final Fantasy game, but in terms of the games to come out after that, I do think it has gotten better in terms of the style that it's going for. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Don't know what else there is to say about that. It's Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's one of the best video game remakes ever made. Ghostbusters, based off the 2016 movie. Now, say what you will about the movie, but I would rather watch that 100 more times than play this game ever again. This is just a slog to get through, not because it's difficult, because it's actually really easy. It's just, the characters, they're so generic, it's so repetitive, it's so uninspired. It really makes the 2016 movie look like a masterpiece. And I didn't even mind the 2016 movie. I don't think I've said this multiple times, but it's far from being the worst thing ever created, in my opinion. I would much rather watch that than something like the Hellboy reboot, or Borderlands, or any other, reboot that has come out. I would much rather watch that than something like, I don't know, War of the Worlds, in terms of, other movie reboots. But, hey, this is garbage. I think we can all agree that at least this is garbage. So, yeah, it's way worse than the movie itself, in my opinion. God of War 3 Remastered. I got this because I didn't have a PS3 yet, but, hey, it still plays very well. God of War 2018. This is how you reboot a fantastic franchise and do things to even surpass its predecessors, even without the use of sexuality or, anything like that, but actually very story-driven and actually very heavy on character development. So, yeah, fantastic game. Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy. When this came out, it was an absolute mess. But, I don't know, I played through all 3 of these games, and I was able to get past them just fine. Yes, I did encounter a few glitches here and there, but they did manage to patch things up, and if I were to recommend playing through this, definitely play it on PS5 or modern hardware, because it came out on the original Switch. Man, there's pretty much no reason to, yeah, I feel like it's definitely much more bearable to get through nowadays, in my opinion. Grand Theft Auto 5. It's Grand Theft Auto 5. What more can I say? We're not going to get GTA 6 anytime soon because it keeps getting pushed back. But, hey, say what you will, even with the amount of ports it has, I still think it is still a fantastic game, and still my favorite in the franchise. Speaking of Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the best PlayStation exclusives of all time. And the start of another fantastic modern franchise. Injustice 2. I never played the original Injustice, but I heard that, this was definitely better. I have played through this one, and I think it's a great game. Probably one of my favorite fighters out there. Iron Man VR. Actually, haven't played this one, and I lost the PlayStation Move controllers. I don't know where they are, and it's the only way I can play this game, but I don't know. If I do find them, I might try them out. It Takes Two, one of the best cooperative games out there. I played this with a friend, and we both had a great time playing through it. It's not too frustrating, it's very story-driven, it has likable characters. It's a very unique game, and we both loved pretty much almost every second of it. And over here, we got Kingdom Hearts 3. This is the deluxe edition, which includes a steelbook. It also includes like a keychain or whatever, as well as an art book or whatever. Oh no, that's a pin, not a keychain. But yeah, some people say this game didn't live up to the hype. I definitely don't think it's as good as the first 2 games, but hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with Kingdom Hearts 4, and I still think, nonetheless, it is a fun game, even if it isn't, good with explaining the context of more of its storyline, but hey, nonetheless, it's still a lot of fun. L.A. Noire, another very cinematic game full of, mystery and solving crimes. If you ever want to be a detective, this is the game to play. Sure, it's not as heavy on action. I mean, there is, third-person shooting elements here and there, but you really got to think hard on what exactly you need to do to get the cases right, because it is easy to mess up on cases and whatnot, but hey, it's definitely very unique when it comes to, its story and its gameplay. The Last of Us, a game that needs absolutely no introduction, and The Last of Us Part 2, this game sucks, Abby ruined everything, like, yes, I get the criticisms, but I'm never going to be one of those people that thinks this game is an abomination. I definitely understand where the criticisms come from, but there's no denying that the performances and the graphics are definitely 10 out of 10. But I get where the other criticisms come from, but it's still a very immersive game. I definitely don't think it's as good as the first one, but hey, I still think there are things about this game that work. And while the story and all that, it's definitely a little bit of a step down, but for me, I still think it's a great game. Yes, there are some shocking moments that are kind of unforgettable, but nonetheless, there are worse things that they could have done to this game. But nonetheless, I still think it's a great game. Like, say what you will, but I'm always going to be one of its defenders. So, say what you will. But let me talk about this game for a second. Yes, there are so many remasters for this game. Yes, some people are tired of hearing about this game. I'm never going to be one of those people. I'm always going to talk about this game because this game is very important to me because this is what made me want to get more into gaming because I never knew how immersive games could get with stories and, more deep with its characters and all that. It was just, there are so many things about this game that I absolutely love that I'm just never going to stop gushing about it. So, yeah, it's always going to be one of my all-time favorites. And I'm always going to enjoy the sequel, too. And yes, they have stated that Last of Us 3 probably isn't going to happen. But I don't really mind all that much anymore. Lego Dimensions. I'm probably not going to be able to play through this game anymore because I lost the portal thing. But I already beat the game, and I do think it's a lot of fun. Definitely, a great answer to, the Skylanders franchise. But, yeah, pretty fun game. Another movie license game that's actually really good, Mad Max. Came out, I'm not sure, did this come out around the same time as Fury Road came out? I know it came out back in 2015, and it was delayed a few times, but hey, I still thought it was worth it. Definitely a lot of fun. Played if you are a fan of Mad Max. Mafia Definitive Edition, I heard the second Definitive Edition was just awful, but hey, I played through this game, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely play it if you missed out on Mafia the first time around. Mass Effect Definitive Edition, as well as Mass Effect Andromeda. Andromeda does have its faults, but it's not a terrible game in my opinion, but it's one that didn't really need to exist. As for the Definitive Edition of the Mass Effect trilogy, yes, there are some things that were left out, but I still think it's a pretty solid remastered port. I played through the games all over again, and I still think they're great games, despite Mass Effect 3's ending. Yeah, I mean, they did do things to improve upon the ending a little bit, so there is good to be had if you were playing through the Mass Effect games again with this edition. I still think it's a damn good remaster of, one of the greatest video game trilogies of all time. And while I'll probably never play through Andromeda ever again, I've played worse. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Now, let me make one thing perfectly clear, okay? The gameplay, I think, is perfection. It definitely perfected the art of stealth-based combat while also adding in more strategic ways of hunting down enemies and whatnot. But its story, because the game was never fully finished, because Hideo Kojima, parted ways with Konami and all that, but I do think there are things about this game that still managed to pay off in terms of the gameplay. Its story would have been absolutely perfection if it did manage to be fully finished with its storyline, but because it pretty much left us hanging, yeah, but hey, I still think this is a damn good game and one of the best in the Metal Gear Solid series. And it's a shame that after this we got Survive, and yeah, pretty much, hey, at least we got Death Stranding now. Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor. If you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, definitely play this one. If you like RPGs, if you like, action-heavy games, this is definitely up your alley. Minecraft. Don't really need to say more. Minecraft Story Mode. For some reason, this was delisted from the PlayStation Store. I don't know why, because I think this is a really good game. In my opinion, I think this is the better version of a Minecraft movie. Actually having, a deep storyline and actually being creative or actually feeling more creative when it came to, building things and whatnot, and having characters that I actually really liked, rather than, just a brother and sister and all that. Just, yeah, I don't understand why, this got delisted. Or is this game even still playable anymore? Like, I haven't played it, like, I haven't even finished all the episodes, but I really hope the game is still playable, because one of these days I do want to try going back and finishing those last few episodes. Monster Hunter World. I mean, it's Monster Hunter, don't really know what there is to say, but it's definitely one of the best entries in the series. Mortal Kombat 11, not quite the best Mortal Kombat game, but I do think it is better than Mortal Kombat 1, the 2023 game, obviously. Nier Automata. Now, someone actually mentioned that when I reviewed this game, I mentioned that I felt the game was too short. I did not know until someone mentioned this in the comments, is that there are actually multiple different endings to this. If you play through the game multiple different times, there are differences. And I never realized that, but as soon as I heard that, then I went and played the game many more times. And I do think, it is such an immersive game. So, yeah, definitely play this one. Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom, like I mentioned before, I haven't played through this one yet. And because I've had this game for years, I'm not sure if I ever will. I mean, I would like to, but I don't know. I heard it wasn't as good as the first one. Nioh and Nioh 2. I cannot wait for Nioh 3. I hope that it's as good as the first two. I've heard early buzz saying that it is, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Nioh 3. No Man's Sky, a perfect example on how not to release a game at launch, but showing that it can be better over time with the amount of updates that it has received, and the updates just made the game even better, that the game is definitely what it should have been when it first came out. So, yeah, there was redemption to this, thankfully. Okami, as far as I'm aware, there will be a sequel, rather than just, continuously porting the original game. And I hope that's the case, because I would love to see a sequel to this. It definitely has similarities to games like Legend of Zelda, but hey, it still manages to be very unique in doing its own thing. It's definitely... It's a must-play for anyone who's, like, a Legend of Zelda fan, or even if you're not familiar with Legend of Zelda, like, I shouldn't always be comparing it to that, but it's still very unique when it comes to its cel-shaded art style, to its world. It's one of the most beautiful-looking games you can ever play. The Outer Worlds. If you're a fan of Fallout, definitely try out The Outer Worlds, as well as its sequel that just came out. Overwatch. You cannot play the original Overwatch anymore. In fact, when you put this disc in, the only thing that pops up is Overwatch 2, and I'm not really too big into Overwatch 2. Yeah, there were things about that game that I was really looking forward to, like in terms of, character story arcs and all that, but they just completely scrapped that, which begs to the point. What's the point of making it a sequel if you're not really going to do much? Instead of just, make it full 100% live service and not really doing much to improve, but just downgrade a little bit. I mean, I don't think it's a bad game, but it just kind of ruined Overwatch, and that's a shame, because this game was a lot of fun. Persona 5, the standard edition, as well as a steelbook of Persona 5 Royal. There's pretty much no reason to play the original Persona 5, because now with Persona 5 Royal... But hey, before this game was still awesome. As a matter of fact, over here I have the collector's edition of Persona 5, what am I saying? Which includes like a nice box that holds everything, as well as a little Morgana plushie, as well as a steelbook edition of the game. Sounds of Rebellion soundtrack, an art book, a bag that you can carry things in. But, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Persona 5, and I still cannot get enough of it. Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight, which is pretty much like a rhythm spin-off game, and there actually is a VR mode. And, again, I never played through this one either, and that's weird, because, like I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of Persona 5, so, yeah. I have played Persona 5 Strikers, which is probably the best Persona 5 spin-off in my opinion. So much fun. Like, so much fun. Definitely played. It's pretty much canon to the Persona 5 timeline, so yeah, there's more of a reason to play it. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. I never actually played through this one, because I don't know. I am a fan of Plants vs. Zombies, but I heard this was a pretty fun game, but I don't know, it's mostly my sister that played through this one. Psychonauts. Now, I know what you're thinking. No, this is not a remaster, this is an emulated port of the PS2 game, but physical editions do exist for this game. You will have to pay a, like, I don't know, I don't know, the physical version is a little bit hard to find. In fact, I didn't see this in any retro game stores. I got this online from GameFly because I enjoyed the game so much that I just decided to own the game. So, yeah, I don't really need to own the physical version, but again, I am a physical game collector, and hey, nonetheless, Psychonauts, it's still a fantastic game. Like, one of the best platformers you can ever play, and the sequel is just as much worth playing as well. Ratchet and Clank, the 2016 game. I really did not like the movie, but I did not play this game until 3 years later, and yeah, I should have just stuck with this game because I did have a PS4 when the movie came out. Even back here it says the game based on the movie based on the game, but yeah, I could have just stayed at home and just played this, but I didn't. I went to go see the movie, but hey, nonetheless, this game was a lot of fun. Like, definitely showing how you can remake a game. Especially since, you know, the first game, the original first game, didn't really have any leveling up elements where you can upgrade your weapons or anything like that, but definitely showing how you do a remake justice. Speaking of remakes that are absolutely fantastic, Resident Evil 2 remake. Yeah, I was really happy with how good that this game actually managed to be, and showing that they could improve upon that. Probably not with Resident Evil 3 remake, but definitely with Resident Evil 4 remake, which we'll talk about later. Until then, original Resident Evil 4 once again. I already talked about this game, so I don't really need to bring it up again. Resident Evil Revelations. This came out during a time where Resident Evil was starting to go downhill, but hey, I think many people can agree that it was definitely better than 6. I definitely think it's better than 6, so yeah, there are things to like about it. Sekiro. I'm like halfway done with this game, though I am slowly starting to get back into the game from time to time. There are times where I just couldn't take it anymore, but then there's a part of me that just really wants to get this game finished since I finished almost every other mainline From Software game. And while this doesn't have heavy elements of, you know, what the Dark Souls games had, this still managed to have a lot when it came to its challenge, making it feel far more different than previous Souls-like entries. So yeah, there's definitely a lot to enjoy about this game, and hell, there are often times where I hate it, but hey, I still think it's absolutely amazing. South Park, The Fractured Butthole, I actually 100%ed everything in this game in terms of, like, platinuming the game, as well as Stick of Truth. But yeah, I'm a big South Park fan, so yeah, I actually do have another copy on Xbox One. Do I still have it? Yes, I do. But I got the PlayStation 4 version because, you know, I'm more of a PlayStation guy than an Xbox guy. Spider-Man. Definitely play this if you're a Spider-Man fan, and definitely play it if you're a PlayStation fan. It definitely showed that Marvel was in good hands when Insomniac decided to make video games based on their licenses. So, yeah, of course, we got more games like that coming out. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, one of the best Star Wars games ever made, as well as Star Wars Squadrons. Definitely play this game if you have PlayStation VR, because if you play it in standard mode, yeah, it's not nearly as fun. I enjoyed the game, but I don't know, there are times where I don't really feel like I'm gonna, like, replay it all that much. I mean, hey, definitely play it if you're in for a great, like, Star Wars, PlayStation VR experience, or VR experience in general. Subnautica, such a unique and bizarre game, and, yeah, I actually never got around to finishing this, but one of these days I definitely do, because it was such a unique game. Like, so immersive, and the fact is that, you know, it didn't hold your hand from time to time, but you just had to explore the world to know exactly what you had to do, which does feel boring, but trust me, once you start playing it, you don't want to put it down anytime soon. Terraria, pretty much like a 2D version of Minecraft, though I didn't play too much of this game because I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, so yeah, but I do want to get back into it one of these days. Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, and Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Sometimes I mix up those titles from time to time because Thief is in both titles, but yeah, I don't know why I don't replay these games very often, because I replayed Last of Us so many times, but I don't know, maybe one of these days I might want to. Until Dawn, pretty much like a horror version of Heavy Rain. I didn't mind the movie too much, but hey, the game is definitely where it's at. Definitely play this if you're like very big into horror like myself. This game was practically made for me. And the Yakuza Remastered Collection. I haven't played too many of the Yakuza games. In fact, I haven't played any of the Yakuza games. I don't know why I haven't, but I heard they're fantastic, which this includes 3, 4, and 5. And I heard the games to come out after that were just as good. So one of these days, I definitely need to give the games a try. And finally, we finish off with PlayStation 5. Aliens Fireteam Elite. Yeah. Definitely one of the better Alien games to play. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I already talked about Assassin's Creed previously, but yeah. Astrobot. I definitely think this deserved to win Game of the Year at the Game Awards last year, because, yeah, this was just a great love letter to gaming in general. This actually feels like, it takes you back to a day where gaming was, I wouldn't necessarily say simple, but it was a lot more fun and knew exactly what to do to be fun. Yes, it takes a lot of popular IPs and just, adding in nostalgia and all that, but I feel like it's nostalgia that actually works. It never feels repetitive. Plus, there are free updates added to this game. This feels like a game. A game that I can see myself wanting to go back to from time to time. It's fun and pretty much the perfect definition on how to do a great modern game. Black Myth Wukong. Haven't finished this one yet. A lot of people say that this deserved to win Game of the Year, but in my opinion, I prefer every other game that was nominated for Game of the Year last year because, hey, this is a great game, but there are things about it that kind of make me feel that the game was a little bit overhyped. And it's not because it's difficult. Yes, it's hard, but that's what makes it more fun because it feels a lot more rewarding. But there were just times where, yes, from time to time, it is nice to look at, and it definitely pays a lot of homage and tribute to Chinese culture. And plus, some of the cutscenes are very unique when it comes to the animation. But oftentimes, the level design isn't all that inspiring. And at the time, there was no map where you can look at anything. I mean, sure, there is a map now, but it wasn't anything special. But hey, I do think it's a good game, but I'm sorry. I'm happy that this won over this. Because hey, it's called Game of the Year Awards, and games like this prove you don't need a great story in order to, have a great game. Like, yes, some of my favorite games of all time have great stories, but this definitely earned it in my opinion. This is a good game, but I don't know, I do feel like it does have problems that I feel like kind of not really overshadow it. I just feel like I can't really ignore all that much. But hey, it's a good game. I like the game, and I do want to finish it one of these days, but it's just not my Game of the Year in my opinion. Again, I think it's a good game. I have a lot of fun playing it, even if it is super difficult. Borderlands 4. Yes, it does run pretty poorly, and yes, the response is that, the CEO has been telling people, just refund the game. Like, yes, it's pretty much a dick move, and would have been a lot better had the game run smoothly, and oftentimes the characters are probably even more generic than the ones in the third game. But nonetheless, I still had fun with this game. It still gave me what I wanted to see in a Borderlands game. Yes, a game that I hope to God wins Game of the Year, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I am not alone when it comes to this game. Like, this game came out of absolutely nowhere. I knew absolutely nothing about it, but when I actually played it, I was just blown away. Like, yeah, this... Yeah, this truly shows how you do a modern game justice. Having both great gameplay and a great storyline, and just make everything feel like it earns a 10 out of 10. This is how you do it. And you're going to be seeing it very high on my best games of 2025 list. And we are down to the last shelf with Dead Cells Return to Castlevania, which includes the base game of Dead Cells as well as the Castlevania DLC. I did play this from GameFly, but I got the full physical version. But yeah, Dead Cells. It's one of the best roguelites you can ever play. Oh look, another fantastic remake. It's just a shame that not people went to play it. It's Dead Space. This was such a fantastic remake, and it's a shame that we're never gonna get, another installment in this new remake franchise that they were initially gonna do. Were they? Because I would have loved to have seen it, because this is truly how you bring Justice franchise back after your last entry was very lackluster. So yeah, it's a shame, but definitely play this one if you haven't played it. Definitely a lot better than the Callisto Protocol, which was a successor to Dead Space, but just failed on so many departments. Deathloop. A lot of people like to hate on this game just due to the fact that tons of critics overly praised it. I think it's a great game. Like, I get where the criticisms come from, that it doesn't really do much in terms of a gameplay perspective, but feeling often repetitive. I do get frustrated with this game from time to time, not knowing exactly what you have to do in order to assassinate, your targets and whatnot. But, hey, I still think it's pretty fun to learn from time to time. It's not a perfect game, like, it's definitely not a 10 out of 10, but I do think it is a damn good game. Death Stranding 2. This is how you do a sequel justice to your predecessor. Like, apparently this game was too perfect that Kojima had to do things in order to make it feel a little more divisive. But hey, it still received a great amount of acclaim. Oh, well, look, another remake. Demon's Souls remake. Yes, $70 was definitely a bit much for this one, but nonetheless, it's still a fantastic remake. Like, if you're a fan of the Shadow of the Colossus remake, then definitely play this remake as well. Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles. I know there's a sequel to this. This is like a third-person-ish fighting game with some RPG elements here and there. I don't know, it's been a while since I played this. I did finish the main story, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely more on the lines of for people who are fans of Demon Slayer, which I am a fan of, but it's pretty much what you would expect from a Demon Slayer game. Diablo 4. Not a terrible game in my opinion. Yes, I get where the criticisms come from, but hey, I had fun with it from time to time. I mean, there are some things that I got annoyed by, but I definitely don't think it's a bad game. I do think that 3 is better, but I don't know. I didn't mind it all that much. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. In terms of, Dragon Ball and JRPG, this is definitely a fun one to play. Dragon's Dogma 2. I got a little bit annoyed by the halfway point. That's why I haven't gotten back into this one. I do kind of want to, but I don't know. There are some annoyances here and there, but hey, I do think that, it's still a pretty good one. Dying Light 2, I like this just a little bit more than the first game. It still has its problems, but hey, I do think that it's still a worthy follow-up, in my opinion. It has problems for sure, but I enjoyed it. Elden Ring. I will never get tired of talking about this game or its DLC. Such a fantastic game. What more is there is to say? It was everything that From Software learned from their previous entries and just cranked it up with a massive open world. Yeah, there's a reason why, people will not stop playing this game anytime soon. I do have a steelbook for this, which doesn't really have anything in it. But no, I got the steelbook when I got this copy as well, so yeah. Elden Ring Night Rain, which is pretty much like a roguelike spin-off, which I heard DLC was just added to the game. Was it just added, or either it was just added or it's coming out, but yeah, it definitely has its faults from time to time, but it's pretty fun. It's definitely worth playing with friends, for sure. Like, do not play the game solo. Epic Mickey Rebrushed, which is a remastered version of the original game, which I actually do have a big collector's edition right here, which includes, does it say what it includes back here? I think, I don't know, I don't really want to open this, but it includes, like, a figure. If you saw my last Christmas update, then you can see exactly what it has in it, so yeah, but it has some pretty unique stuff in here. I just keep it over here by my other games because I don't really have too much shelf space left. But yeah, this game was a lot of fun. Definitely one of the best Disney games out there. Evil Dead the game, the campaign may be a pain in the ass, but the actual multiplayer aspect is actually quite a bit of fun. It's amazing how many multiplayer horror games based on movies that they managed to make, but I do think this is one of the better ones. Final Fantasy 16. Definitely not the best entry, but I do think in terms of, action-heavy based games in the franchise, this is absolutely one of the best. I know some people think that, the RPG elements were lost, which oftentimes they are, but I do think that the game is a lot of fun, and I do think Clive is a very likable main protagonist. His name's Clive, right? I don't know. Oftentimes I forget it. But yeah. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I cannot wait for the final entry in the Final Fantasy remake trilogy, 7 remake trilogy. But yeah, with how good this managed to be, hopefully the last game will be absolutely fantastic. I hope, anyways. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, which includes the Iki Island expansion as well as the multiplayer mode, which I think is definitely worth playing. Definitely play this if you missed out on the PS4, which you shouldn't have. It's a fantastic game. I did have a PS4 copy, but I guess I don't know what I did with it. But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, as well as Ghost of Yotai. Yeah, simple as that. Godfall, which I never actually played because I haven't heard too many good things about it. Because, well, yeah. I only got this because, look right there. It was just $5. I don't even know if is this game even still playable, but I just know that nobody really plays this game anymore. God of War Ragnarok. Yep, don't really know what there is more to say. It's one of the best PlayStation 5 exclusives out there. I'm not sure if I like it more than the first game, but I do think it's one of the best follow-ups to an already fantastic game. Like, yeah, people mention its faults, but its faults, I don't really count them as faults in my opinion. Like, in terms of Atreus' storyline with this one girl, like, it never really bothered me. I still loved every second of this game. So, yeah, I still think it's amazing. Gran Turismo 7. I actually haven't played this one yet. I heard it was panned when it came out, or review bombed, or whatever, but I heard that there are still things about this game that are worth playing, but I heard the grind was absolutely atrocious, which is why a lot of people review bombed the game, but one of these days I do still want to try it out. Racers aren't really my thing, but Gran Turismo, it is a big franchise, so I do want to try it out one of these days. Guardians of the Galaxy, if you did not like the Avengers game that Square Enix made, then definitely play this one. I kind of wish you could play it as more of the characters rather than just Star-Lord, but in terms of its storyline and gameplay, it's still a lot of fun. Definitely worth playing through. Horizon 2 Forbidden West, another fantastic sequel to an already fantastic game. I probably prefer the first game a little bit over this one, but I do think that this is definitely worth playing through if you're a fan of the first one. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I'm not really a fan of the combat aspect because it's kind of hard for me to get into, but I do think for its storyline and player choice, I think it's definitely worth it alone for those aspects. Especially with the different ways you can level up. Like, you're a fan of games like Skyrim, there are definitely elements that will definitely remind you of that, but there are definitely things that, make it worth playing through. Last of Us Part 1 and Last of Us Part 2, both on PS5. Don't really need them, but again, I'm such a big fan of The Last of Us that I don't really care all that much. Plus, it's a lot easier to platinum the game for PlayStation 5 rather than the PlayStation 4 remaster, because you can only platinum the game if you play on multiple difficulty modes and all that, which that's not really creative when it comes to, achievements and all that, but yeah. Metaphor ReFantazio from the creators of Persona. This is such a great game. Like, if you're a fan of the Persona series, definitely play this one. Unfortunately, despite the amount of characters that there are in this game, you can't really romance anyone, unfortunately, but it's still a really fun one. Monster Hunter Wilds, one of my favorite games of the year so far. I definitely think some of the previous entries are better than this one, and a lot of people complain that when it came out it was too easy. I didn't really feel that, but I do think that this is still a very fun game in my opinion, and definitely worth playing with friends. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, it's an absolute shame nobody played this game, because if you love Prince of Persia and you love Metroidvania games, this was one to play. It was so much fun, it had so much challenge to it that it's a shame, because now Ubisoft will just do nothing but, bring us more Assassin's Creed games, and Ubisoft has already been going down the toilet, so yeah, that's a shame. Persona 5 Royal PS5 edition, don't really need this, especially since I did platinum the PS4 version of Persona 5 Royal, but I got it because, again, I'm a big fan of Persona 5. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, I also managed to platinum this game as well. Definitely one of the best entries in the series, and I think it's even better than the 2016 game. It was very unique with its story and added in new characters as well as new combat styles and whatnot, new weapons. It was such an immersive game, and I really hope we do get more entries, because I would just love for this Lombax and Robot duo to just take over the PlayStation market. Resident Evil 4 Remake. By far the best Resident Evil remake out there. I'm not quite sure if I like it more than the original Resident Evil 4, just due to the fact that, that game is a classic, and there's pretty much nothing... Okay, there are a few things that I would kind of change here and there. Actually, no, forget it. I still think, even though Ashley is annoying, it's still a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. This is a 10 out of 10 as well, but I don't know. There was just so much charm to the original game that, while this game pretty much perfected everything that made the first game great, or the original game great, cranking it up a little bit, but I don't know, it's really hard for me to know exactly how I feel. Resident Evil 8 Village. Really looking forward to the 9th game. Returnal. Despite the fact that you can't save, which kind of defeats the purpose of going back to this game, especially if you accidentally turn your PS5 off, like if you put it into full sleep mode or you accidentally unplug it, you have to do everything from the beginning. So yeah, and I don't mean like when you die and have to start all over, because you can still make progress and get permanent upgrades when you play throughout the game. It's just the save feature is kind of what hurts it from me wanting to go back to it. But it's still a really fun game. A difficult one, but still a fun one. Silent Hill 2 Remake. The game that revived one of the best horror game franchises ever. And Konami showed that Silent Hill can still be scary. I mean, we're getting a remake to the original game. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Silent Hill F, again, showing that, Silent Hill can still be scary. And this has one of the best stories that Silent Hill ever had to offer. And they offered so many stories with the original Silent Hill 2, and they managed to do even more of that with this game. Yes, the combat's annoying, and I am kind of annoyed that you have to replay the game again or multiple different times in order to get the good ending. It's almost as tedious as something like Ghosts and Goblins, though not nearly as hard as that. But hey, nonetheless, Silent Hill F is one of the best entries in the series, in my opinion. Sonic Frontiers. I finished this game, and I liked it, though everybody I know on the internet praises this game like it's the greatest thing to ever come out. It's far from being the best Sonic game, in my opinion. I mean, I do think this game was kind of overhyped when it came out. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had fun with it, but oftentimes the world felt a bit empty, and oftentimes, you were just doing the same thing in each world. But there are redeeming qualities to this game. Like, in terms of the actual Sonic levels, they're a lot of fun. The bosses, the music, they are top-notch. The graphics, it oftentimes doesn't feel like, much changes when it does come to the gameplay, as you're going to be, collecting, these things in order to get to other parts of the story. A lot of people compared it to Breath of the Wild, but there's a reason Breath of the Wild was so big that this kind of felt like a watered-down version of that. Again, I don't hate the game. I thought the game was a lot of fun, but it's far from being a perfect game. It has flaws that I personally cannot ignore, but hey, it's a nice try. It's definitely one of the better 3D Sonic games in the modern era. It's, in my opinion, not as good as everybody, every Sonic fan makes it out to be. Maybe to them, if they're happy with this game, then hey, good on them. And there are often times where I was happy with it. I was all like, okay, that was fun, but I don't really see myself wanting to go back to this game. Again, I like the game, just not a masterpiece in my opinion. Spider-Man Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. Yeah, I don't know what there is more to say. I already talked about Spider-Man 1, so yeah. Split Fiction. This is from the makers of It Takes Two, and if you loved It Takes Two, or you and your friend loved It Takes Two, definitely play Split Fiction. It's, again, one of the best cooperative games to come out. And yeah, Haze Light has definitely been knocking it out of the park with cooperative games. Cooperative exclusive, that is. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, which is pretty much like an amped up version of the original Stanley Parable. So unique and so creative that I just could not resist getting a physical version of this, which I actually did manage to platinum. And one of the things that you have to do in order to platinum this game is play the game for a certain amount of time without... I mean, I think you can turn it off, but you have to continuously playing it. So what I did was just... I had the game on during the night, and when I woke up, it popped the trophy. So, yeah, but this is such a creative game. It's so unique. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Yes, a lot of people had problems with the performance, and a lot of people had issues with the game constantly crashing. It never crashed for me once. Like, I still was able to get through this game and still managed to enjoy it. There's still redeeming qualities to this game that I feel I've made the game worth it. Probably not as much as Jedi Fallen Order, like almost as much as Jedi Fallen Order, but I don't know. I still really enjoyed Jedi Survivor. There are definitely some things about this game that definitely make it worth playing. Alright, it's really close to the end. Street Fighter 6. Probably one of the most fun fighting games in recent memory. Like, if you're a fan of Street Fighter, yeah, you pretty much know where this is going. I had so much fun with this one. However, a game I did not have fun with was... yeah, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I don't know. I rented it from GameFly, but stopped playing after an hour. But I saw it at Walmart for like $10, and I was all like, you know what? I'll just get it off my list. So I played through the game. I beat the story. I don't care about any of the season pass shit or anything like that. I just wanted to finish the story, and yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. So repetitive, so uninspired that... what happened to Rocksteady? Like, what happened that you just decided to make this generic shooter that does not feel inspired whatsoever, and not even any of the weapons feel creative? Like, it is just the most repetitive game you can play in this modern age. And it's a shame that most of my friends that I'm friends with on PlayStation have played through this, but they haven't played Clair Obscur or Black Myth Wukong. But they played through this. I need new friends, but if you are friends with me on PlayStation, I didn't actually mean that. It was a joke, but yeah. Alright, we got a few more games left, and we can move on to the digital games. Okay, Tales of Arise. I haven't played too many of the Tales games, but this one I had a lot of fun with. I really enjoyed the characters, I really enjoyed the gameplay. I had a lot of fun with this one. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, I stopped playing because there was a bug in this game that caused me to not make any progress whatsoever. But, hey, I still think for what it is, it's pretty fun. Not amazing, but fun enough. And then finally, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Haven't played too much of this, but I definitely do feel like, you know, compared to something like Pro Skater 5, this was definitely a great callback to what made the Tony Hawk Pro Skater franchise great. So, yeah, they also released 3 and 4, which I heard was pretty good as well. So, yeah, plenty of reason to play these games in the modern era. Alright, so now we are going to go to my digital library, and we will finish off this collection video. Okay, before I get into it, some of these applications that I'm about to show off, I don't actually have because I rented them from GameFly, so if you see me skip them, it's not that I forgot them, it's because I don't fully have them. So that's why I'm not going to go through, like there are some games or applications I have on here that I don't have, but are still in my library. So, for example, I do have Resident Evil 3 on here as an application, but I don't have the actual game because I rented that from GameFly. So that's an example. So, yeah, it's not... So, yeah, but anyways, let's finish this off. Also, a heads up, I can't record the screen with the capture thing, as that only works for games. I could just take screenshots, but I would much rather just, well, to make this quicker, I'm just going to record the TV. Sorry, I don't have a capture card. One of these days, I really need one, though, because I'm extremely late on that. But anyways, starting off with Limbo, such a disturbing yet very interesting game. They made a successor to that, which I do have, and I'll show it later on, which is called Inside. But anyways, next up we got A Hat in Time. Such a fantastic love letter to, you know, classic 3D collect-a-thon games. And, yeah, it's one of the most underrated games of 2017. You definitely need to play it. Titanfall 2, very underrated first-person shooter. I never played the original, but the second game I enjoy than pretty much almost any other Call of Duty game. except for, the original Modern Warfare that came out in 2007. Yeah. Shadow of the Colossus for PS4. Such a fantastic remake. Battlefront 2, which isn't all that fantastic. I've only played a little bit of the campaign and a little bit of the multiplayer and didn't go back to it. Rise of the Tomb Raider, 20-year anniversary, celebration, Resident Evil Code Veronica X. So if I wanted to play the PS2 version, I would just play the edition I have on here. The Last Guardian, which is from the makers of Shadow of the Colossus and Ico. I've heard it was fine, but there are some very annoying things about the game, specifically with the gameplay. Like, the story was great, but the gameplay just... I haven't played it. I've been meaning to, but it's probably going to feel like an underwhelming experience. Or, I don't know, I could be wrong. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, there was a time where you couldn't play this game anymore, but Ubisoft made the right choice in bringing it back in 2021. Maneater, this is another game I got to platinum. I haven't played the DLC, but the base game was fine enough. Oh, Astro's Playroom, of course, because that comes with every single PS5. Mortal Kombat X, I never finished the campaign, but yeah, it is pretty fun for a modern Mortal Kombat game. Night in the Woods, such an immersive game. Like, the art style and the storyline to the characters, such a fantastic indie gem. Rick and Morty, Virtual Reality, probably the best Rick and Morty game, and pretty much the only Rick and Morty game that I'm aware of. And then there's the Playroom VR demo thing that came with the PlayStation VR. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Some of these I got from the PlayStation Plus game thing that they do every month. Castlevania Requiem, which includes Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood. I've only played Symphony of the Night. I haven't played Rondo of Blood. Friday the 13th, the game, which I don't think I can play anymore, but it was alright, I guess. Yeah. Doraemon, Story of Seasons. I've only played this game because I'm a fan of Doraemon. But yeah, it's pretty much like a farming simulator type game, but I never really went back to it. Stray, definitely play this game if you're a cat lover. Castlevania Anniversary Collection. I should probably zoom in on these, but yeah, Castlevania Anniversary Collection, which includes the original NES trilogy plus the Super Nintendo games. Multiverses, which nobody can really play anymore because it was a big hit when it came to its launch, but when the full game came out, it was an absolute mess. And that's why I didn't go back to it. And that's a damn shame because it had so much potential. Umbrella Corps. Yeah, I am never going back to that piece of shit ever again. Overwatch 2. Yeah, I'm probably not going to go back to that either, but if I had to choose, I would much rather prefer that than frickin' Umbrella Corps. I don't know how that game isn't even delisted, because I understand why Ghostbusters and all these other bad games were delisted, but Umbrella Corps, nobody has anything nice to say about this game. Like, nobody just... I'm not really complaining too much, but I'm just kind of baffled. But anyways, Inside. Yeah, this is the one that I was talking about. Somehow it managed to be even more disturbing than Limbo, and somehow even better than Limbo. And Limbo was already fantastic, but Playdead really made a great duo game. I wouldn't necessarily say series, but yeah. There's God of War again. Diablo 3 Eternal Collection. I haven't really played that because I already have it for Nintendo Switch. But it came when I got Diablo 2, the remaster that you will see later on. Oh, right now, in fact. Diablo 2 Resurrected. Yeah, it's not a great port, but it is a playable one. But anything that comes out involving Diablo is probably not going to end up being well received by fans. But, yeah, it's because Blizzard has made so many decisions that kind of just, yeah. And I should really delete that thing since I don't have the game for that anymore, and thank God, too. Okay. Final Fantasy IX, I've really been meaning to play that one, and I've had it for about a year or two. But yeah, one of these days I definitely need to play it, because I played so many of the other classic Final Fantasy games, but this one's supposed to be one of the very best. Undertale. It's Undertale. I don't need to get deep into that. Also, this is
game that's very easy to platinum on PlayStation. You don't even need to finish a run in order to fully complete the game. Like there's one thing that you have to do that's only exclusive for PlayStation that requires you to platinum the game, but probably one of the easiest games to platinum. And I'm surprised that you don't even need to fight Sans in order to get it. So I don't know. Alan Wake 2, such a fantastic sequel to an already fantastic game, and somehow managed to even surpass it. Yeah, it was a sequel, definitely worth the wait. Final Fantasy VI, part of the Pixel collection. I don't have the other games in the Pixel collection, but yeah, I was able to finish up this game, and yeah, absolute classic. Like every single person willing to play Final Fantasy needs to play Final Fantasy VI at least once in their life, along with Final Fantasy VII. South Park's A Stick of Truth, because I don't really use the Xbox 360 anymore, because I have it on that, but I got the PS4 version since I got the PS4 version of Fractured Butthole. Animal Wells, such a fantastic indie game. If you're a fan of Metroidvania type games as well as a big animal lover, this is a very mysterious yet very well crafted game that I highly recommend. Baldur's Gate 3. Pretty much anyone can recommend Baldur's Gate 3, especially if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, there's a big reason why this game was a big hit, though I'm not even close to finishing it. And yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to finish it anytime soon because it's so massive. But hey, it's rich with its story and its characters and its gameplay. There's pretty much nothing that I really need to say more of. Balatro, if you're a fan of roguelites, as well as card games like, I don't know, Solitaire. Though it's a lot more different. Like, when you first boot this game up, you think that the game would be boring, but you'd be dead wrong. It's actually super addicting, and once you pick it up, you pretty much never want to put it down. Dragon Age the Veilguard. Yeah, I wasn't really a fan, and a lot of people weren't either, other than critics. But yeah, it's very forgettable. RoboCop Rogue City, definitely the best RoboCop game in like ever, if I do say so myself. Braid Anniversary Edition, because this game never actually came out on modern consoles until last year, I believe, or whenever this game came out. But not many people bought this, unfortunately. And after playing it, I don't know why, because I guess people were... I don't know, it's a fantastic game. And hey, it's still available if anybody wants to play it. Bluey the video game. Of course, I'm a big fan of Bluey. I made so many Bluey-themed videos throughout the past few years. If you want to know more of my thoughts on this game, go check out my video where I play Bluey video games for absolutely no reason. And the only reason I have this downloaded is because I already have the game for Switch. But that's mostly for my Bluey-themed room. Yes, I have a Bluey-themed room. I made a whole video on it, so... yeah, it's kind of been upgraded, but yeah, Bluey the video game. If you're not a fan of Bluey, you're definitely not gonna like it. But yeah, if you want to hear more of my thoughts, check out the video on my yeah, because this was pretty much the main course when it came to that video. Liza P. I haven't played the DLC, but I definitely want to. I got this also for the PlayStation Plus thing that they do each month, in case I do want to play the DLC, because I originally played the game for when it was on Game Pass, but, you know, I figured, why not? One of these days I do want to try out the DLC. I mean, I would have to go through the game again, but I don't mind. It's a great game. Stardew Valley, not really too big into farm simulators, but the fact that there are some RPG elements to it, as well as, you know, character interactions, some characters you can actually marry and develop relationships with. Yeah, it's a very unique experience. Psychonauts 2. Definitely play this one if you enjoyed Psychonauts 1. As well as another download version of Resident Evil 3. I recommend playing Resident Evil 3 on the PS5 because it's a little bit easier thanks to save stating, as well as Resident Evil Director's Cuts, which is also available on the PlayStation Classic, but you might as well just... I mean, you can play all the classic Resident Evil games on PlayStation, so... Yeah, I don't have Resident Evil 2 since I already beat Resident Evil 2 and I already have the physical version of that. But I don't know, if I was to go back to it, I would probably download the, you know, the freaking the version on PS5. But yeah. And then Dispatch, fantastic episodic game. Yeah, if you're a fan of superheroes as well as binge watching classic animated superhero shows or modern animated superhero shows, well, I explain it more in my review. Some of these games I've already reviewed, and I explain better in those videos if you want to check them out. I have a whole playlist, but yeah. And the Sonic Origins collection, which includes all the classic Sonic Genesis games from the original Sonic Sega Genesis trilogy to Sonic CD. Yeah, I honestly have a lot of fun playing this collection. I feel like it's a little bit easier to get into because there's no live system or whatever. But yeah, I've already played Sonic 1, 2, and Sonic CD. I'm currently playing Sonic 3. But yeah, I've had quite a bit of fun with this collection. And that wraps up my PlayStation games collection. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will continue to collect physical and digital PlayStation games if I have no choice, but as long as it's still around, I'm always going to be a fan of gaming. And the fact that I've been gaming for almost 10 years now, it's incredible. But yeah, one of these days I will remake my Nintendo games collection video and then possibly my Xbox games collection video as well. So yeah, but anyways, Christmas is coming up, Game of the Year Awards is coming up. So yeah, in the meantime, I feel like going back to playing this. So I'm going to do so while Cartman over here edits this video, which will take him quite some time, just like the last video he edited. Are you excited, Cartman?
F you!
Yeah. But anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and maybe subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or maybe Blue Sky. Links are in the description. And I'll see you guys later. Word out.